Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from the Florida Keys. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions of people come together to explore and develop creative interests. Class topics include productivity, crafts, music, creative writing, photography, just to name a few. Skillshare is for lifelong learners of all skill levels. Most Skillshare classes are under 60 minutes with short lessons to fit any schedule. I'm currently taking a class called Filmmaking from Home by Penny Lane, and this class is helping me to refine my videos by improved editing. The Skillshare platform is continuously launching new premium classes without distracting ads. With an annual subscription, you can take as many classes on as many topics as you want for less than $10 a week. First 1,000 subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free premium membership trial. Now on to the video. This week's plant in the spotlight is the Philodendron Micans. This philodendron is sought after for its velvety green and copper leaves. As you can see, it's a vining philodendron, which makes it perfect for a hanging pot. Although at the time of this recording, I've never seen a Micans in a big box store, I still consider it to be readily available. And I say that because you can probably find one online for about $20 to $25. Now at this time, that will not buy you one as large as the one that I'm showing you here, but it will probably be enough to get you started. So let me show you how this plant started out. This is a clip from my plant haul video when I first purchased these Micans. I purchased them on Amazon about a year and a half ago, and it was advertised as two 2.5-inch pots for $25, which at the time was an excellent deal. And even now it's a pretty good deal. But from that time, a year and a half ago, my Micans, I planted them together and it's turned into the pot that I have now. I've taken cuttings from this plant several times, so taking that into consideration, you can still see that it's a nice sized plant. So I would not hesitate to start this plant from cuttings or from a small plant. One thing I love about the Micans is it's so similar to some of the more rare or hard to find expensive plants. For about a quarter of the price, the Micans gives you the green, copper, velvety leaf that responds to light by giving you more color, just like, say, the melanochrysum. And if you think this Micans leaf is beautiful, it's actually a melanochrysum. Yeah, they're that similar. Here is the leaf of a melanochrysum right next to the Micans, and you can see just how similar they are. And again, the Micans is probably a quarter of the price. And another thing about the Micans is their leaves only get to be about 3 inches across at their largest, which is usually when they are encouraged to climb. The Micans is a tropical plant, and like most tropical plants, it doesn't like extreme temperatures. They do best in temps between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 18 to 23 degrees Celsius. They also do best with some humidity. However, this plant is so forgiving that it will adapt to lower levels of humidity. In fact, where I keep this plant, I do not run a humidifier, and it stays somewhere around 50% humidity, and the plant does fine. The Micans does best in bright, medium, indirect light, and it will have how much light the plant gets will have a direct effect on the color of your leaves. As you can see, the leaves on this plant are mostly green, but you can see the brown hues, and on the backs, of course, they have the nice coppery color. However, the only light my Micans gets is from this small light. It's not a grow light, but this small light on the underside of this shelf. This plant is not near a window, and of course the colors would be a lot more intense and more coppers if I had a brighter light. But I'm making sure the top has enough light that the plant stays full and that the plant does not get leggy. Now, this is a plant that I'm growing from several cuttings, and it's in my grow tent under very intense light. And as you can see, You have leaves that are green, that are copper, that are brown. The colors are a lot more intense, and there's a wider range of colors just given the amount of light that the plant receives. The Philodendron Micans is extremely easy to propagate, which is another thing to love about this plant. And another reason why I wouldn't hesitate to start it off with just a cutting or a small plant. Here I have a small tray of micans that I am propagating, and I just put it in these little containers. I'll have in my description box, there's everything that I use. And I just put it on a bed of moss that I have squeezed out as much water as I can, put the moss in, get some node cuttings with usually one leaf or two leaves at the most, and I set it in here. Within a matter of days, you usually have roots on the cuttings, although some of them are going to take just a little bit longer. These I've had in here for 4 days. Most of them are already anchored to the moss, except the one that I just showed you and pulled up. Once they're rooted, I pot them in regular soil, whatever I have on hand. Of course, you want something that drains well, but I will use succulent mix. I will even use regular potting mix to plant my micans because they do like a little bit of water. And as you can see, the roots on this plant, when this happens, I like to go in and snip it right below the node where the roots are growing out of. And then I'll just take it and take that little cutting and pot it in the same pot or start another pot with it. And it's an easy way to fill in a pot or start a new pot of micans. So whenever I have them potted up, I'm always looking at those nodes to see if I see any roots that are coming. And as you can see on this one over here, if you look closely, you can see that there are some roots coming from that node. So I will cut that one as well and stick it back in here, and eventually I'll have a nice, full, healthy plant. In terms of watering, I water my micans when my moisture meter tells me it's starting to get dry. So right at the dry mark. And as you know, I always use water that is already pre-mixed with a little bit of Miracle-Gro fertilizer. I like to mix it up. I like to pre-mix my water and fertilizer so that's already ready to go. And I use it at 1/4 strength. So if you're going to do this and water every time, fertilize every time you water, make sure you're not using your fertilizer at full strength because you will burn your plants. And I find that my plants do well at 1/4 strength. So that's what I've been using, and I use that on all of my plants. Be sure to water your micans thoroughly, but if after watering your leaves look wilted, then you've overwatered your plant, so you're going to want that to dry out and adjust your watering. And finally, if you are considering adding a Philodendron Micans to your plant collection, it's important to know that they are toxic to animals as well as to humans. So just keep that in mind. And that's about it for the Philodendron Micans. A beautiful plant, an easy plant to grow. Any beginner should be able to handle this plant, absolutely no problems, and it's oh so fun to propagate. So go on out there, treat yourself, get your micans. Take care. Hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.